Welcome back to the rest of the story. How's everybody been? I have been busy. So is Ryan. If you look off to the side of the screen, that's him kicking up dust. He's staying ahead of the planter, trying to keep the planter running. Now, we were a little rushed trying to get the last of these soybeans in. Now, this is not we were done planting last of the soybeans, but this is the last of the soybeans on this farm. So that was really what we were pushing to get done right now. Yeah, for anybody that's wondering, we did get it done. I managed to plant through two different rain showers. One was at like 10 o'clock at night, the next one was at like 12. And I managed to get done at 4 o'clock in the morning. Just pulled the planter into the machine shed and it let loose. Basically, I went to go get out of the tractor and you could hear it pounding on the tin roof of the machine shed. So I don't think I really could have cut that any closer. I mean, the two rain showers I went through before, it was enough to get the windshield wet, the fenders were wet, but it didn't ever quit the dust or knock the dust down to where the dust wasn't flying. So I kept right on going because I do like to get our crops in a timely manner. Don't get me wrong, I love planting and I love harvest season, but it's also dollar signs that are going into the ground and dollar signs that are going into the grain tank at the end of the day. So I'd rather have them in my bank account than sitting out in the field. At least if it's under, if it's up to me to, try to get them in a timely manner. And you see the cattle in the background where they must have known the weather was coming because they were all over the pasture that day. This video was taken 2 days ago, for anybody that's wondering. But it's been kind of hasty. It's been really hectic around here. Even with the rainy days, we've been maintenance and working on everything else in the machine shed. We're trying to get some fencing done, but we're getting there. We hauled cattle on this day alone that we did this video. We did everything from, while I was waiting on Ryan, I went through and I harrowed all my soybeans down that I had done the previous day. We didn't harrow any of Dad's down. I don't think we could have if we wanted to. Well, if somebody was around, but between the help that we had at the time, no one was there to run the tractor. Brittany was down at school yet, and if Brittany was here, I'm sure she would have had no problem taking off in the 7600. But no, we don't have a roller. For those of you that aren't aware of that fact, I would like to try one. I wouldn't mind even trying to rent one someday and like just seeing how it works and see what our opinions are of it. Now, this is a kind of a wide turn, a U-turn, a backwards U-turn. The reason I'm backing the planter up like this is if I pull straight ahead or I just turned around where I was at, I was going to run over corn that was already out of the ground. And I don't want to risk damaging any more corn than I absolutely have to. So that's why I'm turning around like this. Now, if you can see, I do drop the planter down. I back the planter up. And I managed to miss any of the corn rows that I back up through. And this also allows me to start back in straight because I was planting straight track back and forth lines with TerraStar. You see the planter is down. And I'm running off the boundaries for this field that we made with the four-wheeler. We made these boundaries 2 years ago, but that is turning on all of our row clutches, so all of our soybeans are planted in the field. And this is me, myself, and I going through and filling this planter back up with seed. I did speed this clip up a little bit. From start to finish, from the time I turned the camera on to the time I shut it off, it was 7.5 minutes. And this is how long it took me to fill the planter. Now, it doesn't seem that bad. Like, that really takes all that long to do that. The problem is that it really takes a lot of time and slows you down when it comes to filling up these planters like this is when you're by yourself and no one else is there to run the truck over to you in your general area. It happened to me a couple times this day. I was not quite back as far away from the buildings as I could get, but really close enough. And I had to drive all the way back into the tender, fill the tender, and then drive all the way back out to where I was planting to get back to planting. So on the couple of times there where we were far away from the buildings, I was far away from the buildings, I lost about a half hour of planting from the time it took me to drive in and drive back out and fill the planter. It was pretty close to 30 minutes. And, you don't really want to drive too fast across the field with these machines like this because you can damage them bouncing across the field road or anything else. I mean, you got to be careful. And I'm sure most of you already know that. This seed tender works really well. The only problem is that you'll see me do it. That's more or less the corn planter's issue. But to cover the whole planter, you have to pull the truck ahead so you can get all the seed boxes filled up. Now, you get pretty good at this. After you do it a couple times, you get a routine down. And as you can tell, I was kind of in a rush that that day. It was a pretty long day for me, and what was it, like a 20-hour day? But we are down to the last. We have like maybe a day and a half worth of planting to go, of soybeans to go. All the corn is done, and hopefully everything comes out of the ground. We aren't going to be doing any replanting this year. I mean, the last 2 years, we've had to replant something. And it'd be nice to not have to drag the planter across anything else again. Thus, I'll be throwing my four-wheeler in the back of my truck, and I'll be going around and checking some of these some of these farther away from the farm fields that I really don't want to have to drag the gator or drive the gator all the way out just to check crops when I can just throw my four-wheeler in the back of the truck with the four-wheeler ramps. So that is the current plan here. The first soybeans we planted, give them a couple days here yet, and they'll probably be up. I'll be watching for them anyway. You guys will be seeing a couple crop update videos. Generally, I imagine you guys really aren't too interested in what the corn and soybeans are doing, but it is part of the everyday in and out of farming. Now I'm going to be finishing up filling this here, and you can see the graphite bottle in the lower left of the screen. The problem with this stuff is that, I'm sure you guys, maybe you can, it's really dusty out, and you always got to stand upwind of that stuff, otherwise you'll be completely covered in that graphite. And that stuff is some nasty stuff. You get it covered in your hands, and your hands get really slick, and they're black. So you really feel really gritty by the end of the day, that a shower is usually very much called for. Now, hopefully, the reason that I was pushing to get all the ground covered that I got covered in this video, everything down around home is done, but the reason for that is because of the weather forecast. We were going to be forced out of planting for about a week, and looking at the forecast, it's looking like it's going to be pretty close to that. So this is a very, very good thing. So at least these beans that are in the ground before all this rain, they got off to a good start, and we'll be ready to, well, I'm not ready right now, but I'm going to be going through and fueling everything back up, both the tractors, greasing the corn planter again, greasing the VT again, and blowing out all the air filters out of the tractors, so we're ready to run. Yeah, hopefully a day and a half will do it. Don't know when it's going to be done, but you guys will probably end up seeing some of it, part of it, and we'll be, I don't know, maybe some of you guys aren't looking forward to it, but that'll be the end of the planting videos. And maybe, potentially, possibly, we'll already be looking at doing some first hay cutting videos before the end of the month. Because that alfalfa, our alfalfa, has really taken off in the last couple days. And that's a concern that I just talked to a local farmer about who does dairy hay. And he's worried that for how fast the alfalfa is taking off, that they're going to have to really keep a close eye on it to get it cut off before they start losing quality and they get more of the woody stems, because you leave alfalfa go too long, that's what you will get. But that is it for this video, guys. I know I'm getting long-winded. Look forward to tomorrow night's video. So until then, Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. Thanks for watching.